Hello and welcome back to Marta from Sparta. Today's video will be perfect for all Magnolia Pearl lovers. We will try to distress overalls and create something magnificent like Magnolia Pearl. If you're not familiar with this brand, I am probably displaying some inspiration images on the both of the side of the screen right now, so you can take a look what I am talking about. She has beautiful message. Her backstory is also amazing, but you can read it by yourself and watch the YouTube videos what the Magnolia Pearl is about. But I will try to make my old overalls kind of distress and look like Magnolia's Pearl overalls. And I chose something pink because I love pink color, and I'm gonna show you in a minute what I was able to do and accomplish before I recorded this clip, because I start to distress them and work on them few days before to actually see if it makes sense to make this video and if it's actually gonna work. So let me show you what so that would be the overalls. These are overalls which I was working on past few days, and before I started they were like super Barbie pink. I will show you the actual color before I start to work on one side of the screen so you can see. And I try to bleach them. I try to bleach them first, but it seems like not everything gonna take bleach, or I don't know how they were made or what they made out of. I have no clue. These are not a real denim. They are like very thin, some type of fabric. I don't know, even know what that is. So distressing them also might be a little bit more tricky than actual denim pants. So it's gonna be more challenging probably than just choosing actual denim overalls. So because the bleaching didn't work on those specific jeans or overalls or fabric, what I did, I mixed 2-to-1 ratio of wall paint with a water. One part of paint and 2 parts of water, and I mixed it, and I took like a huge brush, and I got the all overalls wet, so they were like slightly actually wet, and I actually start to paint over them. So that's why you see that they are kind of, in some spots they are a little bit lighter than the other spots. And I was trying to also make them look very like a wrinkled. So what I did, I followed one of these YouTubers' directions, and I just put them like that wet in the bucket, and I let it sit in the bucket for a day in the sun, so they're gonna actually stay wrinkled. But the moment when I actually got them out, they kind of start to relax a little bit, and they're not as wrinkled as they were when I got them out, and they're not as wrinkled as I would like them to be for this project. So I have decided that I'm gonna try method number 2. I'm gonna use fabric stiffener mixed with water, but in really low ratio. I don't remember that. That was another YouTube video which I was watching. So I might try it because I don't want them to be stiff and unpleasant to wear, but I want these wrinkles to be permanent, like Magnolia's clothes, right? So that's gonna give you this very vintage, very rustic, very old look, right? So I will try that, but I also thinking that maybe this time I will try to do that and use this fabric stiffener when I attach everything, because as you see on inspiration images, it's not just overalls are wrinkled and distressed on her jeans or pants or t-shirts. It's actually the whole piece. So maybe that's a good thing that I was not able to get that look, because I will try to do it with a fabric stiffener. I'm gonna rewatch the video, or maybe I ask AI actually how to do it. So I have a fabric stiffener at home, so I'm just gonna mix it in very high ratio with water, so it's not gonna be like I'm wearing very stiff pants which are gonna actually stand without me being in them. So that's that. And the next part which we actually gonna do, you're gonna have to find your patches. And if you want to recreate what I am doing, I will link everything I used in description below. Some of the products which I am using, some of the fabrics which I am using, I might not able to direct you to them, because this is something which I have left over from other sewing projects and I'm recycling. And I have some vintage tablecloth which I got on eBay, so there's a lot of things you might not able to get, but I think one of the tablecloth and one of the drapes you will still able to get on Amazon. And again, I'm gonna link it everything in description below. So the next part of the project, after you're actually gonna distress and bleach your background, because I'm gonna call the pants background, we're gonna have to cut out the patches. So it will be a while, because some of the fabric is very thin and very challenging to cut out. But the next part, let's cut out as many as we think we need. Then we're gonna actually iron them, distress them, they lay down on our pants, overalls, t-shirts, whatever you guys using. And we will start from here, and we will see where this is gonna take us, and how close we can get to Magnolia's look. Here we go, guys. I'm all set. Water with baking soda, bleach, and obviously overalls. We're gonna start a little bit distressing. I'm wearing my kind of like a I don't care clothes in case I'm gonna be bleachy, and I'm using the same method I was using in my video from last year. I will link it in the description below. So here we go. I'm a little bit stressed because this is not reversible process. So once it's done. So let's go. Okay, guys, it's sitting right there. The bleach didn't take. So as a matter of fact, instead of trying more bleaching, what I did, I mixed the oil paint and I add 2 parts of water to 1 part of paint, and I made it really, really loose and like very light, and I splashed it and I painted it. And now I'm just actually listen to another video how to make the pants being constantly wrinkled. And what I'm gonna try to do, they said I have to air dry them and sit like wrinkled very tight, and let them just dry like that. So we will see. And they also said that add a little bit fabric stiffener. So if that's not gonna work, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add tiny bit of fabric stiffener to the water, put them in, and then try to wrinkle them and air dry them. Alrighty, so here we go outside, and I put a beach towel down because usually when I cut something, it's getting super windy and everything is flying, and it's easier for me to actually touch the beach towel when I cut the fabric. So this is like a curtain, right? Like a window curtain, but this one is very sheer. And I'm cutting out the roses out of this one, and I'm cutting as many as I have patience for now. And I'm using only 1 curtain. I don't even think like I need the whole one. I think the half it's enough. Roses are fairly big. So this is a curtain. I think they're still available on Amazon. I'm gonna check and link it if you're interested in this specific one. But this is like very experimental thing. I don't know if that's gonna work. I'm still gonna cut it out and test it, but let's hold on to that. The stuff which are definitely gonna work. This is a tablecloth, also like with the roses, because I'm going for this garden kind of very feminine pink cute look, and I really love these roses. And this is like a very cheap polyester tablecloth, which I found for $7 on Amazon, and that's going to be juicy because roses are very perfect color, and some of them you see, like, I don't want the same exact pink, but I want the same kind of family. So this is gonna be definitely a go. And the last but not least, it's also tablecloth, but this one has paintings and flowers on it. And I'm planning just to use this part on my pants, just the paintings, not the flowers. So let's get into cutting. It's gonna be a very long day of cutting a lot of roses. So I'm gonna put you guys on time lapse, music on, book in my ears, and let's go. Alright guys, so the next step after cutting out all the patches, it was to do the same thing which I do with the Free People shorts. I'm gonna link the video below. You have to open your pants outside on the seams. There you go. I open my pants on the sides just like that, right on the seam on both sides, and I also undid the bottoms, because if you're gonna look closer at Magnolia Pearl pants, they also have like an extra, when you're gonna roll them up, they have like an extra layer of beautiful fabric under. So I decided to undo them, then I'm gonna attach the fabric, and then I'm gonna stitch it back to the position it was before. The reason why we are opening the pants on the sides, because it's going to be way easier for you, me, to zigzag attach the patches to the pants. If you don't have sewing machine, you do not have to. You don't have to use a sewing machine. You can use actually fabric glue. I'm gonna use a sewing machine. I'm gonna choose some fun threads, and for me it's way easier to have the pants open like this, attach it, and then close it. Yeah, it's a little bit more work, but it also makes the whole journey way easier when pants are open. I just cut out the stitches like overall of didn't cut it like very close to the pattern, because I think I'm gonna zigzag it around, and then I'm gonna cut out the fabric with a small scissors. Okay, so I'm doing right now, I actually marked when my line for this kind of patch is. I put it on the window and kind of use the marker, and I'm gonna stitch around this, on this line, all around it, and this is on the back of my pants. And this is the front. And what's gonna happen is, once I'm gonna stitch over here, I'm gonna open it from the front and start to distress the opening. Okay, so that's how the cutout is look like without distressing it. And then I'm gonna start to pull the threads like right over around it to make it look destroyed. And what I noticed on Magnolia Pearl pants, that they have some cutouts like this way, and then they have a patches on top of it. So I use like this blue thread, which I really like how it goes with the painting. And for the zigzag, I might go and look for something white or neon pink or neon green, because if you see, they just try to use number of different colors to make it look more interesting. And because my patches, some of them are polyester, I don't know how this dressing gonna look like, and that I think was a big mistake of me buying polyester tablecloth, but I think it should work if I'm gonna zigzag around it and not distress it. So I'm gonna do the rest of them, and I'm gonna show you placement later. But again, placement is very individual. You can guys do whatever you want to do. I'm just trying to show you the technique, which I kind of figured it out after taking a look at Magnolia Pearls. Okay, before I'm gonna close my pants, I added like a piece of fabric on the bottom when they are still open on the left side of my overalls. And yes, I'm gonna have this line over here, which is fine. It doesn't bother me at all. And why I did it, once I'm gonna stitch it under and close it, I'm gonna be able to roll it on top just like that, and it's gonna add additional layer of fun to everything. And I think in order to bring this together, I'm just gonna make like a few patches, and I'm gonna add it like randomly on the pants, just like a kind of like a patches. And before I'm gonna close them, I might even think again about adding some other thread, like maybe something pink because I already stitched blue. I don't want to introduce too many different colors, but I closed the pants once and I regret it. So before I'm gonna do it again, I make sure that I'm gonna run all ideas and stitch everything together. So for now, I just cut 2 rectangles and I added to the bottom and I stitched left sides together. So when I'm gonna roll them out, this piece will be very much visible. So currently overalls are closed and I'm done with patches. So I still think that based on inspiration images and Magnolia Pearl clothes, they are more like distressed looking and they look very busy and artistic. So general my plan is, and this is the bottom, that's how it looks. So I closed them at exactly same seam. I opened them, you can't even tell because I followed exactly the line it was there, and I did the same thing right over here. I closed them literally at the same seam which they were originally, and see, like, that's how they look. I'm gonna show you later when I'm totally done, when I'm gonna wear them. We're gonna talk about it a little bit more. So I introduced the blue because I wanted pop of color on top of the whole pink over here, and now I still think they are kind of plain. I will show you later the back of it. So what my general plan is to add a little bit and splatter a tiny bit of paint. Not crazy amount, but just a little bit. And this is the colors which I chose. And I didn't buy anything because I paint also. I have tons of different colors. So this is acrylic paint. And I really want to add this neon pink. So I chose the neons to actually make this overalls be more interesting. And again, I'm not gonna like a splatter a ton of it. I'm just gonna do drop here, drop there, just for a little bit of interest. I probably will take it on the grass still. And I think after that, as you see, I have tons of I don't know how it's actually called, and I'm gonna use this to make some fun stitches around the loops. I might also use a permanent marker to color those buttons. If you saw Magnolia Pearl's jeans, they have like this regular old-fashioned buttons. So I am on the fence. I might take the side ones out and put like something very old-fashioned wood or something, or some color. I'm not sure about those because I'm not sure if I'm gonna replace those, how it's gonna actually match the closure. So I'm gonna think about buttons while I am painting those jeans. So after I paint them and they dry, then I will definitely do the final touches with some fun like rag stitches. If you watched my videos before for my jackets, I really like those, and I might add a few over here, just in the areas when I think we can add some pop of color, and I might match the yarn to the paint. But first I want to see how the paint will come out, and then I will think about a yarn. And I am pretty stoked about how they look on the bottom. I'm really happy about this fabric. I think they are more interesting, and in order to bring the bottom together, I actually, as you see over here, I add a tiny patch in the waist, which I might actually use some stitches around it and pretend that I actually stitched that on. So for now, that's it. I'm gonna think how I'm gonna distribute the paint over them, and it was a lot of work, but again, we're gonna have longer discussion about those and challenges I faced making them during my sewing thoughts. So let's get into the next step, which will be painting. Alrighty guys, so I splattered with the paint, and this is front of my overalls. And in the meantime, when I was obviously splattering, I was thinking like, yeah, I want to add even more texture, right? I know I'm gonna do some stitching and embroidery, but for now I was thinking like how I can make my life easier and this overalls even more interesting. So I found a tons of like sew on patches or iron on patches just like that. And I have to be very careful with what I'm adding to, because I don't want to introduce more color. As you see, this, for example, these butterflies are pretty like bold colors. So yeah, I have some bold blue, which I really like. So I might actually add somewhere just like this blue butterfly, right? But I'm also not sure about that yet. I have tons of them. Oh, I think I also have pink one. So I don't want to necessarily introduce more color. If I will use the patches, I'm gonna be very, very selective for what I'm adding. This is just to give you guys idea. But I have these beautiful birds, and they are almost exactly same color theme as everything on my overalls. As you see, I added just 3 colors of paint. White, which was already on the overalls, neon pink, which was not there, but this is my kind of like a pop of color over here, and little bit of green, which is very similar to the family color of other leaves. So basically the one new color which I introduced here is this neon pink, which I think it's gonna add more like a modern and contemporary look to pretty kind of distressed and vintage looking overalls. And about embroidery, as I said before, I'm gonna think about what colors I'm gonna add. So I'm gonna open this pack of birds. I think that's like a hummingbirds and other birds, because they seems to be the closest to what I have already on the overalls. And I'm gonna see if I want to add any of those to it. And this is just to add more texture, like more fun texture and more interest on top of the paint and embroidery, which I'm gonna be doing pretty soon, because this side is drying. Then I'm gonna flip them and splatter the back of my overalls, and then we're gonna be doing fun stuff like embroidery. And oh, I also painted the buttons like a very like not really nicely, because I wanted to look like accidentally buttons were painted. So I did that on the buttons, but again, I might change the buttons. But for now, I wanted to see how it's gonna look if I'm gonna do something like that to it, okay? So yeah. Alrighty, this video is already very long, so you can skip the sewing thoughts if you want to. But I'm gonna try to keep it as short as possible. So yes, it was tons of work. It took me 2 weeks. There is 3 layers of patches and 3 different tablecloths I was using. And I have to say that the challenge of using tablecloths, they fray like a lot. This one was ripping a lot because it was very sheer. I mean, it wasn't a tablecloth, that was actually a curtain. So there's a lot of levels of that. My overalls personally were not denim. So actually to get these fry edges, it's really, really challenging. I'm still gonna throw them one more time in the wash and see what's gonna happen. But generally the challenge was this was not denim, so I couldn't create this distress kind of look on them. Overall, you can go with a team you want to go. If you are Magnolia Pearl fan, you know that they have animals, they have saints on the overalls, they have only flowers. So they have a lot of very, very fun team. Because I love to paint and flowers, I decided to choose paintings and flowers and combine them together. I didn't try to like copy them, but I try to kind of generally get the same vibe and the same feel. I also splatter with the paint a lot because I thought that's gonna bring additional level of details. I also do some hand stitching on purpose in multiple areas, right on the zipper here, to also add additional level of details. I'm also thinking about adding patches, but I decided before I'm gonna add patches, I'm gonna wear them a few times and see how I feel about that, because these are like iron on hot patches, and once I'm gonna attach them, I think that's it, they're gonna stay or they're gonna leave the glue behind. So it's a lot of time to actually attach the patches, and before I even start to attach the patches, I had to kind of put them in bleach because they were very, very bright pink, maybe something like even my bracelet. And because that's not denim, that was some different fabric, the bleach didn't take, so I have to paint them with the paint to get them lighter. That's why you guys see this kind of like very washed out color of pink. um, Generally, I was thinking maybe I'm gonna splatter more paint, but then I thought um, that's good enough for me. I love the cups. I think the cups adding like a ton of very fun details. And to bring the cuffs with the overalls, I added one patch of same fabric over here and one patch over here, so it kind of actually bring these cuffs together, so it's not going to be like the fabric just popped out of nowhere. I was very careful about introducing new colors to it, and you see I'm wearing blue sneakers because I want to kind of emphasize uh, this blue on my patches, which I really like, and generally just have fun. And the good part about this project is the more imperfect it is, the more perfect the overalls will come out. And I would say stay away from the fabric like I use on majority of them, which was curtains, because they rip so much. I had to actually zigzag a lot, even twice, in order for them to actually stay and stop ripping. I like imperfect zigzagging over here. I'm even considering doing some hand stitching over here, but again, I can keep adding to it, and something like a stitches I can always do and then undo it. But as far as iron on patches, once I'm gonna add them, they actually gonna stay. So yeah, it was very time consuming project. I understand why these overalls are $600-800 and why they so expensive. It's a very long process, and I bet I'm not even halfway there with the distressing and the amount of work they are doing on these overalls. Um, but I am pretty happy with mine. And the total cost of those was probably like $55, including overalls. Um, and I am pretty happy with results. It came out pretty close, amazing. I really love pink. I love flowers. I love painting. So just enjoy the process and remember, more messed up and imperfect it is, the better they gonna actually come out. So you don't have to stress about getting everything perfect. I hope you guys enjoy this project. Sorry for the long video, but there is no way to shrink everything and show you everything in a very short format. But if you have any questions, drop me comment below, and I'm gonna see you next week.